Right, moving on. Real food options for snacks. Now, if you're useless at preparing like me, I just go for the raw nuts and some fruit. If you're fancy, like Erica, you can get your almond butters and stuff like that. Have you heard of almond butter? Like, this is not your fake peanut butter stuff you get with all the hydrogenated fats? Hydrogenated.
But you can get good peanut butter as well, like your almond
Correct.
butter.
Yeah. So what you look for is on the back of the pack. You should see two. You should see one. You should just see the ingredients that say almonds, and they've just been ground down. That's all you should see in there. Okay. I'm not even scared to have the one with a little bit of salt. Yeah, so you just look at the back, one ingredient there. Hey, and when you do it, it's quite tasty to have things like an apple with some of that almond butter on it. The protein from the almond butter fills you up a little bit more. And you know, these snacks are really, really important for keeping your energy high during the day. And it keeps your portions down when you get to your lunchtime meals as well. And it how many of you guys have ever skipped the old, you've had lunch, then you don't eat anything till like dinner at like 6 or 7. And you get home, I've done this, right? So I've skipped the meal, and I've got home, I've got my son with me, and I'm so hungry. And I go into the kitchen, I've got to still make my food, and I'm so hungry, and you're just looking around for anything. What's something my son has that I could maybe steal, you know what I mean? Like, and that's when the damage gets done. So that meal sort of between lunch and dinner is really important. And if you have like, sometimes I'll just go home and I've got this one off Erica, I'll just grab the almond butter and stick my spoon into it and eat it like that. And you have to scull heaps of water with it because it's so sticky. But man, I tell you, that satisfies, and then I can just make my meal. It's a real good tip, that one. So write down, make a selection. Make a selection for your snack. Everyone got that? So make a selection for both snacks, guys. There's 2 snacks on your paper there. Good question, Rob. I think fruit is another one of those ones that a lot of fruit gives you that fast release of sugar that we talked about limiting. So let's limit our fruit, but let's not forget there's a lot of, you know, Dan talked about nutrient density. There's a lot of good nutrients in an apple or a banana or an orange, so we don't want to cut it. We want it in your diet, but we want it limited. So I suggest it pops up in your snack options.
And variety of fruit. Don't have like 3 bananas in the day, because you're only going to get those couple of vitamins and minerals. Have some berries, have a banana, have an orange, and then do something different the next day.
Everyone chosen their snacks? Both snacks? Okay, this is where things get a little bit more complicated, guys, and we've got some crazy demonstrations here. When we're looking for our lunch and dinner, this is a great chance to get heaps of nutrients in, okay? We want to look at, let's start with dinner, right? Hands up who makes dinner at home. Does everyone cook? Everyone here cook? Everyone makes their dinner. So when you look at your plate at home, is there a section for vegetables, protein, and carbohydrates, now that we know what carbs are? Okay, now, ideally, I'd like to see the majority of your plate be filled with vegetables. I'm not talking about the starchy ones. I'm talking about, you know, not the potatoes and stuff. You can have potatoes, but that's going to come into your carbs. But I'm talking about the real foods, the salady type ones, the broccolis, the ones that no one likes, the ones your kids don't like, okay? That's the one we want to see majorly there. Protein. For those of you that train hard, you can sometimes sneak a little bit more than 25% protein, and I like to. I can't survive on that. And carbohydrate. Look at the control of that carbohydrate there. If I think about it, when I see a lot of bad plates out there, it's the carb that takes over the plate. You notice that? Like, you know when you have a stir fry? Traditional stir fry is supposed to be mainly vegetables, isn't it? But I quite often see the big plate of rice, and this is when we're going back about the white rice and stuff. Any rice, if you have a huge excessive amount of it, it's a huge stack of carbohydrates that all gets broken down into sugar. Okay? And then, depending on which rice you've had, the worse it is. So, most people can stick to this, most people don't, but we need to get that part right. So if we look at our protein, here's some good 1 ingredient options. I usually just choose a piece of meat, cook it up, any of those meat options. I'll choose a carb. Usually for me, I'm pretty one-dimensional. It's kurma or quinoa. Has anyone heard of quinoa?
Yeah.
Yes, Jen, you have.
No,
I don't have shares in it.
You're sponsored by them.
Vegetables. Here's some options for you guys. And fats. We need fat in our diets, like I talked about before. So let's talk about good fats. Olive oil, avocado, nuts, coconut oil. Let's talk about the bad ones to avoid. Anyone? There's heaps of terrible vegetable oils out there.
Butter.
Margarine, avoid it. I'd rather have butter. Why?
More than 1 ingredient.
Closest, I go for the one that's got the least ingredients. Butter, I can recognise those 3 ingredients. Margarine, I haven't got a clue what's in there.
Sorry, what about things like the olive oil?
How many ingredients are in that? I personally haven't had a close look because I just eat butter. I eat a decent amount of butter. I'm not scared of saturated fat. Yeah, it's the ones that scare me are those weird ones that have been made up. I think we could, if you went on a farm, you can make your own butter, right? I wouldn't know how to make margarine.
Probably do it. My husband had a heart attack and he had to shift to olive oil and he wasn't allowed to eat butter.
Yeah, but that's once again the doctor's probably overweight himself telling him to do that. No offence, but it's what we. There's still people out there. There's still huge nutritionists telling people to eat margarine, and I'm not sure that's. I just know what I believe in, and I think the 1 ingredient rule saves a lot of that hassle.
Can you fry the
I
protein?
think.
Can you what, sir?
Oh, the thing that put us off margarine, I think, was when we went to a course and the guy explained how it's bleached to get the colour. And you know, if your food's been bleached so it looks a nice pleasant yellow to eat, you don't have to ask any more questions. Well, it's not so good.
And sorry to answer your question, basically, if someone's telling you to do something, they've got it from somewhere as well. They've got that information from somewhere, and they're just doing what they've been told. But I think if you really strip it down and do your research on it, you can really find you've got to make your own mind up about it. Because I don't want to mess with someone who's had a heart condition. They've been told to eat that. If that's what his doctor said, go for it. But in my opinion, I'll do heaps of research on the stuff, and I know I've gone for blood tests, and I know I eat heaps of eggs, and I know my cholesterol is good. You know what I mean? Like I just go with what I believe, you know, from those studies.
How do you cook your steak or chicken or fish?
I just use one of those massive grill pans and just.
With a little bit of
I'll season it a little bit. It's good. We've got to talk about this at the end, guys, about not sweating the small stuff. Like I'll put a bit of salt on my steak with a bit of pepper. I'll dab some olive oil into the actual meat. But I think it's just nothing in excess, yeah. But if you sweat all the small stuff, you're losing the point. It's about sticking to the real food for 99% of the time. I think I talked to the girls about it at the back. I've had clients in the past arguing over, I had a little bit of feta in my salad. I think it's where I'm going wrong. I said, no, it's the loaf of bread you've had all day. That's where you're going wrong, okay? So don't think about the little things. If you're spending time thinking about that, you've got it wrong, okay? Go back to the absolute bulk of your day and what you're doing right. Think about putting good nutrients in, and the bad stuff will fall out. It'll leave your diet, okay? Now, this is where we go hardcore. Dan is going to give you a breakdown. How many of you here bring lunch? How many of you make dinner and take it for lunch the next day? This is the best thing you could do. If you do it, you can guarantee the breakdown of the portions. You can guarantee all of those vegetables. So at night, I make my dinner and I put my extra stuff into my lunchbox for the next day. Every night I do that, all the time, okay? It's a cool thing to do. This is what prevents this. When I'm stuffed and I haven't made my dinner, I go to the sushi bar downstairs because it's not great. There's worse things I could have, but it's not great, and I feel bad when I'm doing it. And let me show you why. Dan's going to give you a breakdown of sushi.
It means I have to get my hands dirty. I'm not very good with dirty hands. I love sushi. So if that's our plate, then we want that to be vegetables, and that to be carbs, and that to be our protein, right? Fish, meat, whatever. So, well, maybe I need an assistant.
Erica!
Right. I got no diversions. On the plate there.
Rodney's going to take a hit, Erica. Rodney's going to take a hit for the team. No, take a hit for the team, Rodney.
I'm just going to start. So, who likes sushi?
Love it.
Okay. So,
Not good.
pretty much, this feels awesome.
So what Dan's saying about sushi, guys, is even though it's made up of lots of little real ingredients, trying to stick to this from sushi is really, really hard, and we're going to give you a demonstration why. Yeah, I read up about that because I heard people that they had sugar and stuff, but it turns out that it's a ridiculously small amount. But I don't know what type of rice all the different sushi places use. I'd imagine it's a fast release. Does anyone know?
It's a specific short grain, high starch
Right.
rice.
Right.
With
So
a rice wine vinegar which is fermented.
okay, so there's that element to it, but I think the big part for me that comes out of it is the breakdown of this. It's the lack of, we talk about nutrient density. Well, if I can have a whole plate of veggies, well, Dan will explain it to you.
So, this is my vegetables. A little bit woeful. There's like a little bit of lettuce and avocado. That's the 25% of carbs, and there's our protein. So, what's wrong with that?
Carbs.
Well, where are your vegetables? I mean, there's pretty limited goodness in a spoonful of lettuce, eh? So you're getting hardly any vegetables. Protein's not the worst, but you're just eating Stodge. Who likes sushi now?
Who wants to play?
And you're more than welcome to have this.
I think they were waiting for a dramatic, like, the sugar is.
So, Liz, you said you had sushi today, 8 pieces. That was 8 pieces. So, probably worthy of its couple of diversions, right? Couple of serves. And it's.
I've been arranging for my trainer, right? We didn't
Okay,
fight.
good. And it's just not the fact that you don't really need all this in your body, spiking your insulin and causing fat storage. It's the fact that you've missed out on a lot of important nutrients for lunch. And when are you going to have to catch those up? Dinner time or, you know, your snacks. Now, who has sandwiches for lunch? Oh, no one has sandwiches.
I thought everyone was going to lift their hand on that one. I thought sandwiches were the biggie. Wait till we take this public. When we go public with this course, there'll be sandwiches, hands up, I know it.
Alright. So, that's just a typical salad sandwich, I think. It was the best I could do.
This is outrageous.
You destroyed my lunches.
I'm not going to sleep tonight if I see this. It's getting near dinner time. There's a few people looking at that sandwich.
Alright, so there is a bit of egg which I could scrape off into this pile, but just imagine I have. So same thing, you're getting all this bread, which may be low fat, may be wholemeal and full of grain and stuff, but it's still a massive amount and doesn't nearly meet your requirements for a good sized and well proportioned lunch or dinner.
So, but that would be worse than the sushi, right?
Worse? Well, who wants to have a guess? What's worse?
Well, is that processed meat?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is that
Yeah, that's ham.
Bread is evil.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. Correct.
But neither had
Taught
much
you
in the
well.
way of vegetables.
Didn't he?
Must be because he's got for dinner
There's
tomorrow night
a-
sushi.
I just got to cross that out now, Steve.
I'm not angry, I'm disappointed.
There probably is a lesser of two evils, and it's up to you to gauge that. I would probably say all that rice is worse, but you could have so many more good lunches and dinners, which hopefully you're writing down now.
Yeah, so on that note, now that we've ruined your hopes and dreams, the best way to do it is do your dinner first, then think of taking that for lunch the next day. So make up what your dinner would be and think about what you're going to take next day and add it in there. Or think about what you're going to have to. Does that make sense?
What do we have for dinner tomorrow?
And that kind of method works where you do your dinner, you then got your lunch the next day. It also helps get you out of the habit. Not that many people are having sandwiches, but you would never have a sandwich for dinner time. So why have a sandwich at lunchtime, you know? Unless you're really, really caught short, travelling, whatever, but hopefully it's not bad.
So how do you keep it fresh, guys? You mix up your different meats, and like Dan said, keep, just like you said about the fruits, mixing it up. Mix up your vegetables, mix up your carbs. Using these ingredients, you can make some interesting combinations. I just don't, but you can choose to. You can choose to. I'm not known for my cooking skills, but mix it up. Have some fun with it. Right now in front of you all should have a list that if you were to replicate that for 7 days a week and only make 4 little mistakes, and 4 little diversions and train 4 sweaty sessions, you will, I guarantee you'll get results. As Gail is testament to, great results from sticking to this stuff.
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
What if you don't put the carbohydrate on your plate? Is there a downside to not having that?
Excellent question. Carbs and we actually need, what do we need carbohydrates for, guys?
Fuel energy.
Yeah, okay. Does anyone know any diabetics, or is anyone diabetic? You know what happens to an insulin-dependent diabetic? They don't produce enough insulin, right? So what happens is, because they're not producing insulin, their body starts eating itself because it's not getting energy from. You need insulin to provide the sugar or the energy, the glucose, to the muscles and the fats. But because it can't get it, because it's not producing any, it just starts eating away at its body, and they lose weight really, really fast. Now, if you tuck all your carbohydrates away, you're not going to be producing it. You need the sugar levels to rise. We need insulin in our diet. We just don't need as much as we're getting. So we need it. So if we start producing no insulin, then our body's going to take its energy from somewhere else. That's when it starts taking it off your muscle, starts taking it off. So you'll get your fat off, but it also takes your muscle. That's why the Atkins diet was so successful for short term, because I tell you, you don't eat many carbs, you will start stripping fat and you'll strip muscle. But what happens when your body runs out of fat and muscle? You get